Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Freedman, Matt F. the Oracle. Welcome to the Betting Pros podcast, brought to you by BetMGM, where you can get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000 when you use the highly original promo code Betting Pros with your first deposit. All right, here with me to talk NFL Week 14 best bets is Jessica Gridiron of the Action Network. Jessica, we're like in the home stretch of the season. Next week, we have 3 games on Saturday. And when we start to get Saturday games, that's officially when my brain sees the end of the season in sight. Like, how has the season gone for you so far?
I know it's exciting and sad at the same time. I agree with you. But so far the season has gone pretty well. I've definitely had some good weeks, and then I've had some so weeks as well. But overall, I'm happy with the season so far, and it's been fun and exciting overall.
Yeah, last week, one of the best NFL weeks I've ever had. So I'm just waiting. I know regression is going to strike like the empire. I know at some point I'm going to have a really bad week. Just hoping it's not this week. But all right, this morning I published on Betting Pros my projected spreads for every games, and per usual, established betting positions earlier in the week. Still some games that I like though, and Jessica has some bets that she likes as well. So we're going to cover those. I'm going to start with the Bills hosting the Jets, minus 9.5 point favorites. And by the way, I got to do the plug here. We're giving away a free signed Isaiah McKenzie Buffalo Bills mini helmet from Pristine Auction. If you want a chance to win it, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now and comment below on the video. We will announce a winner in a future episode, so turn on those notifications. All right. I think my rationale for this bet of Bills minus 9.5, it's pretty straightforward. I think they're just significantly better. That's the thesis there. But, I think anything less than 10 is not enough. When the Jets hosted the Bills in week 9, the Bills were minus 10.5. And yeah, they did lose that game. And the Jets are better with Mike White at quarterback versus Zach Wilson. But the Bills are now at home at Highmark Stadium. I think they have a significant home field advantage, and they're only 9.5 point favorites. And that doesn't add up, especially when you take into account that the Bills are playing with 3 extra days of rest, and the Jets are on a 3 of 4 away streak. So, they are living on the road at this point. And the difference between these two teams, it is significant. In the Massey Peabody Power Rankings, the Bills are 7.91 points better than an average team on a neutral field. The Jets minus 2.09 points. So there's, I would just say in general, like a 9 or a 10 point difference between these two teams. And then you add on home field advantage and the extra rest that the Bills have. And I think that pushes this pretty cleanly over 9.5 for me. And I know that we've seen back-to-back 300-yard passing games out of Mike White. He's unquestionably an upgrade on Zach Wilson, but I think it's too early for us to assume that he's actually like a quote-unquote good quarterback. Like, he probably isn't. Just last year in week 9, he had an abysmal game against the Bills, had a 54.6% completion rate, 1.6 adjusted yards per attempt. Like, that is like sub Blake Bortles, that's like Nathan Peterman-esque. 4 interceptions he threw in that game. He's almost certainly better than the typical third string quarterback, but that's what he is. He's a third string quarterback. He's yet to prove himself to be a starter caliber player. So I think anything less than 10 offers value on the Bills. I don't know if you have any opinion on this game. Do you have a position or any thoughts?
Yeah, well, as you can tell, I'm a Dolphins fan, if you look
Okay.
behind me. So overall, I dislike both of these teams a ton.
Yeah.
So I'll just put that out there. But I always tend to lean towards the dogs. And I agree with you. The Bills are one of the top 3 teams in the league, but I can't take favorites in a divisional game. I also, the Jets defense, it's significantly improved this year, and I think they can get a couple stops on defense. And on offense, as you mentioned, Mike White is almost one of the games outright last week. He won the game outright last week against the Vikings. So if he can limit his turnovers and improve his third down conversion rate, he could be a serviceable quarterback, in my opinion. They almost won the game.
Yeah. So you're skeptical of my position here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. It feels dirty. I hate it's so weird because it feels dirty. Like the wannabe sharp in my brain feels dirty taking a big favorite, and then the definite square in my brain feels dirty when I take a big underdog. So there's always this battle that I have within myself about what to do when I'm betting here. But yeah, I mean, I have this projected at let me see, where do I have this projected? I have this projected at 11.25. So I am well on the other side of 10 here, but maybe I'm wrong. You mentioned that you are a Dolphins fan, but you are going against your Dolphins this week. You like the Chargers hosting the Dolphins. And right now, this number is, kind of vacillating between 3.5 in the market. What do you see in this game that is putting you on the Chargers?
Yeah, so I like the Chargers at plus 3.5 because everyone is going to expect a major bounce back from the Dolphins this week. But I'm expecting a 2 week road hiatus to affect the Dolphins' ability to get into a routine. That being said, you're going to give me a 3.5 line where I'll gladly take the home dogs to stay within a field goal. And, everyone knows about Miami's offense, so nothing needs to be said about that. But it's their defense. It's middle of
Hmm.
the road, and Justin Herbert should be able to pick apart the middle of the field. Similarly, how rookie Niners quarterback Brock Purdy did last week. You have a quarterback in Herbert who has more experience and, of course, a bigger arm to make the Dolphins defense pay. One big factor that is overlooked on this Miami team is the special teams unit, where they are the worst in the NFL. You have the eighth worst kickoff return success, 10th worst punt return success in the NFL. And then you add in the fact that kicker Jason Sanders comes in as the seventh worst in the league as field goals and extra points. I mean, I think the Dolphins will be leaving points on the board and they'll lose the field position battle all game, which will keep the Chargers closer than people expect. Also, the Dolphins have the sixth worst net average in the league per punt at 39.8. So I really wouldn't rely much on this on special teams in a normal scenario while handicapping, but with a Dolphins team that will be out of their normal routine, I'm expecting this to come into play.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so I will say, if I had to bet on this game, I would be on the Chargers, and my numbers do show value on the Chargers. One thing that gives me a little bit of pause. So I guess two things. One is that Miami, they are cross country, traveling east to west, but they did stay out on the West Coast because they played the 49ers. And so I think the normal road disadvantage that we would expect to see from a traveling team, maybe we don't see that quite as much with the Dolphins. But the bigger thing is the injury situation for the Chargers with right tackle Trey Pipkins, center Corey Linsley, and wide receiver Mike Williams. If I knew those three guys were going to play, well, of course, if the market knew those three guys were playing, this number wouldn't be 3.5, right? But like those are really important positions for the team. Like Mike Williams as the bigger body downfield option in that offense. Lindsley as the anchor within that offensive line. I think he's one of the better centers in the league and really important to what they're doing on offense. And then right tackle Trey Pipkins, who it's not so much that he's great, but he's way better than Storm Norton. And so it's just you kind of put it all together. And if those three guys are there, I really do like the Chargers, and I would be interested in them on the money line, because my number is showing value. This number is 3. I have it projected at 1.25. And that's like kind of assuming that those three guys are likelier than not to be out. But I just got to say, I sort of know there's like snowballing catastrophe potential if those three guys are out. So I'm with you in that, like, this is the side I would bet, but I haven't been able to do it yet. I just kind of want to see a little more on the injury reports as to some sort of sense about whether those guys might be in or out. Do you have any thoughts on the injury situation for the Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, I was also just gonna mention too, like I agree with you, with the Dolphins staying in California, but we are fond of routines, and they won't have their usual routine.
Hmm.
And I just don't think I do think that Herbert will be running for his life, but I still feel like he's gonna find some open looks. I have a minus 1.7 for the Fins
Hmm.
also. So
Yeah.
according to my projections.
Yeah. So we're pretty close. We're pretty close there.
Yeah, and I also think having offensive line worries for the Chargers is legitimate, but we'll have to make plays like we've seen him do.
Yeah. All right, so a game that you and I are both on, and this one is really disgusting and is like testing my fortitude and willingness to bet on games and also just to watch an NFL game. But the Broncos hosting the Chiefs. This number is 9.5. And by the way, 9.5 across the market, but 9.5 at BetMGM, where reminder, you can use the risk-free bet of $1,000 when you use a highly original promo code Betting Pros with your first deposit. Okay, the Broncos at 9.5. This really is an interesting situation because Russell Wilson has been horrible. I mean, I can't describe the the difference, like the delta between what we would have expected when the year started and all the enthusiasm. And if you look at any of the look ahead markets for the offseason and where these lines were projected months in advance, I mean, they are so off. It's just incredible. But I still look at this game and I think, like, where is the on-field edge for the Chiefs? Like, betting on the Broncos is disgusting. There's no denying it. But like, I'm backing a big divisional dog at home, where the elevation provides a true edge for the Broncos. And I like that general scenario. And, as cringy as Russell Wilson has been this season on and off the field with those ridiculous commercials, he's still 4-2 against the spread as an underdog, historically very good against the spread for his career as an underdog. And the Chiefs, I just don't see them having an on field edge. Like, really, obviously, they're the better team, but I'm probably higher on the Chiefs than most people are. And I still have them as the number one team in my power ratings. I tend to be too high on them each week, but I still see value on the Broncos here. And like, that's saying something. So on offense, the Chiefs, right, great team, number one in dropback EPA, number two in dropback success rate, number two in pass DVOA. The thing is, they're going against one of the best secondaries in the league, right? The Broncos, number three in dropback EPA, number one in dropback success rate. Like, this is not like an easy passing matchup for the offense for the Chiefs. And the Chiefs aren't really all that good running the ball. The Broncos, about average in run defense, actually number 11 in rush success rate. So like, it's not as if the offense for the Chiefs, which drives the team, has a really great matchup in front of them. And then the Broncos defense, yeah, it's not likely to shut down the Chiefs offense, but like, slow down Patrick Mahomes. And, with a spread of 9.5 and a total of just 44 points, slowing down Mahomes might be enough to get the cover. And the Broncos offense, obviously massive disadvantage relative to the offense of the Chiefs, but not a massive disadvantage relative to the Chiefs defense. Uh, Dropback EPA of 24 for the offense for the Broncos, 25 for the Chiefs defense. Like, these two teams are kind of even in terms of like the offensive versus defensive matchups that we see. So I think the Broncos, they're going to be challenged in the running game, but they're not good there. But what does that matter? Like, the running game doesn't matter when you're a double-digit dog. You're going to be throwing the ball anyway. And the Chiefs have a below average pass defense. So I doubt that the Broncos win, but the Chiefs throughout the years have displayed a propensity for winning outright, but not covering the large spreads. And I think we see that happen here. So I think anything more than 7 is too much for the Broncos at home. And I'll just close out this diatribe here. Russell Wilson, career stats might not matter because, like, there's a case to be made, real case to be made. He is no longer Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson, 5-0 against the spread as an underdog of more than 7 points for his career. Patrick Mahomes, 11-16-1 against the spread as a favorite of more than 7 points. So it's one of those, like, I'm not going to be watching this game at all. I'm not going to be looking at it on my phone, tracking it, because looking at it will probably give me a heart attack. But I'm going to be betting it, and then just at the end of Sunday, I'm going to be looking to see what happened here. Do you have opinions? We're on the same side of this. I mean, tell me why it is that you are sicko enough to be betting on this game.
No, I agree with you. Probably the only time I'll be watching this game is if it pops up on the, red zone. But
Yeah.
here we are with the divisional dog again. But I'll keep this short and sweet because you really went into a lot of detail already. But like you said, it's a divisional game. It's strength versus strength here. You highlighted extremely on, how well the Chiefs offense is and how it's arguably one of the best in the leagues right now. But they are going against one of the best defenses in the league. And just like we were talking about, it's a divisional matchup. So I expect this game to stay within a touchdown, considering just how well these two teams know each other. And that really might just be the biggest factor at the end of the day. And like you said, maybe there is a day maybe Russ took some cooking classes and he's ready to cook this, this weekend. And we'll see. I mean, Broncos, let's ride, baby.
No, that guy's eating raw food. He's not cooking anything. I have this projected at Broncos plus 7.25. Where do you have it?
Ooh, I have it actually at 8, so we're kind of right there.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So a game that you are another divisional game that you're looking at here, divisional dog that you like, the Browns, and this opened at 4.5. I think in the look ahead market last week, it was 3.5, opened on Sunday night at 4.5, was bet up all the way to 6, and then now has moved back to 5.5. So there has been some money coming in on the Browns recently. The Browns on the road at the Bengals. You like the Browns here, divisional dog at 5.5. Talk to me about what you like with this team.
Yeah, sell the Bengals, buy the Browns. Reason behind that is this is game number 2 of Deshaun Watson in the offense, and I expect significant improvement from last week's game. This is, like you mentioned, it's a divisional matchup with two heated rivals. And with Deshaun Watson suspended, this Browns offense has still managed to be top 10 in DVOA and EPA, actually. And we know by now that they love to run the ball. It's one of the highest. It's one of the highest rates in the league right now. And do you know what the Bengals defense is bad at? Stopping the run.
Yeah.
They are actually ranked 26 in defensive rush EPA. And while Deshaun is still getting acclimated to this offense, I expect the Browns to employ a heavy dose of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And then look at them defensively. You have the Browns numbers are not that great this season. And I expect these numbers to change over time as the offense continues to improve. Give them more rest in between drives. So, like I mentioned, I'm selling on the Bengals at what I consider to be the high point season for them. And because they are coming off of a 4-game win streak, they went from a 500 record to now a top 3 team in the AFC. Whereas the Browns, they're rolling into this game with a 5-7 record and would love nothing more than to just unseat their rivals.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect this game overall to be high scoring, as my projections actually have this being 27-24 Bengals victory.
Okay. So really you have this as a 3-point game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm closer to the number that we have here. I have it at 5, but it's like there's just so much unknown with Deshaun Watson acclimating to the offense, and there's no way he is as bad as he was last week. That was like easy sort of like, okay, he's going to have some rust type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect him to be significantly better here. So I know that there's a lot of volatility, a lot of uncertainty built into the projection that I have here. So yeah, I mean, I think if I were betting this for Cleveland, I might just take the money line, because it's if we see like the really good version of Deshaun Watson, Cleveland could win. Like that's well within the range of outcomes here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, who would you rather have? Well-known Brissett or a rusty Deshaun? I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the money line look too, but for me, whoever wins this game, I really see it just winning by 3.
Mm-hmm. All right. So final game here for us to talk about. And we are on opposite sides of this game. And I gotta say, you're probably right. Like I will own my L here. Seahawks 3.5 is the current number in the market. They are hosting the Panthers. I feel embarrassed to say this. I bet this in the look ahead market at 6.5 because I thought there was a much better chance that this number would get to 7 than would get to 3. And evidently I was very wrong. I mean, very, very wrong there. By the way, I logged it in the Betting Pros app. Here comes the plug, the Betting Pros app, where you can sync up with sportsbooks, get free betting advice and picks, and track different experts and your own bets. And you can set alerts. So we monitor all the major sports books. When one of them moves a line that hits a threshold you've set, you get an alert that tells you where to make the bet at the book that offers the most value. Download the app today in the Apple or Google Play Store. Okay, so I was the moron who bet Seahawks at -6.5, and it has massively moved against me and is now 3.5 in the market. But I like Seattle here. This is just, I'm going to be the donkey, but Geno Smith, 9-6 against the spread at home with the Seahawks. Um, and Pete Carroll, 57-41-3 against the spread at home with the Seahawks. I'll just say, I don't know. I feel like this market, like when the market speaks, I've learned that I need to pay attention to it, but I'm literally betting that the market is wrong in this spot. Seahawks at home have, if not the best home field advantage in the league, I'd say top 3 pretty cleanly, maybe top 5 if you want to be conservative with it. The Panthers are coming off of the bye, which helps to kind of counterbalance the fact that they're on the road. But I'm skeptical that the bye actually means all that much against the spread to a non-playoff contender this late in the season. And when you factor in home field advantage for the Seahawks, rest advantage for the Panthers, this line is saying that the Seahawks are about 1 to 2 points better than the Panthers. And I just think that's wrong. Like without adjusting for short-term injuries, I have the Seahawks power rated as 5 points better than the Panthers. And maybe I'm being optimistically aggressive with the Seahawks, pessimistically dismissive of the Panthers, who are on their third quarterback. And that third quarterback is Sam Darnold. And this is like a great sort of like crossroads meeting of like Sam Darnold and Geno Smith as like two guys discarded by the Jets, and like one of them has actually like kind of like become the guy that the Jets would have hoped he could be, and one of them totally hasn't. And Darnold as the guy who's coming into this just his second start on the season, like I think he's still going to be getting used to that offense. But the Massey Peabody power rankings, they have the Seahawks as 4.56 points better than the Panthers. So I feel like my line of 5 isn't all that out of step with another set of power rankings I really have respect for. So I don't believe that I'm out of line with reality. I think the market is out of line, but you're in line with the line that we see here. You like the Panthers at +4, +3.5. What do you see in the Panthers?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just start off by saying you make a good argument. I'll give you that. And if this was Seattle -3 or less, I could totally buy into the Hawks. But at -3.5 and higher, I'd have to lean opposite of them in this game. I mean, who really wants to bet on the Panthers? Really? I mean, they've looked horrible all season long. But like you said, the market is speaking volumes, in my opinion. And this is why I'm again leaning Carolina at +4. Like you had mentioned, they are coming off a bye, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare. And this season, NFL teams following the bye week are actually 15-9 straight up. So it's not
Yeah.
a long shot that the Panthers could win this game outright. I mean, I'll take the points. And travel is not an issue in this game. Again, well rested from their bye. And they are going up against one of the top defenses in the league. I mean, sorry, they went up against one of the top defenses in the league, the Denver Broncos. And Sam Darnold was actually pretty efficient. He didn't turn the ball over, and they ran the ball a ton. And Panthers are a better team offensively when they run the ball a lot. And I expect them to do the same to keep the ball out of Geno Smith's hands. So that's why I'm going to take the points on this one, and I'll take Carolina.
The one thing, and your point to the running game for the Panthers is well taken, and Dante Foreman has been really good, I think, as the kind of midseason replacement for Christian McCaffrey after the trade. The injury report situation with him, like I think he's probably going to play. He didn't practice yesterday. He did practice today on a limited basis, so he's probably going to play. But he is dealing with a foot injury, and so if he's not quite his full self, like I start to have a little less faith in the offense for the Panthers. But do you have any thoughts on his injury situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much highlighted everything that, it's unfortunate that he was limited with practice, but I still, at the end of the day, I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he probably does. All right, so we're on opposite sides there. I mean, I feel like you're on the sharper side here. I just have to imagine, given how strongly the market moved against the Seahawks here. And I actually kind of want to ask like a bigger picture question here. The Seahawks, because I think something kind of goes into this line of maybe the bookmakers, the odds makers think that a certain perspective exists of the Seahawks, and then the market moves against them. But how are you viewing the Seahawks here? Because now that we've had the Brock Purdy injury in San Francisco, the Seahawks have a chance of winning this division if they can string together some wins here. Like they are within striking distance. But it seems as if the market really doesn't think that the Seahawks are really even an average team. What is your overall assessment of the Seahawks?
Yeah, I was even just looking at just my top five NFC teams that I like, and you know, I Seahawks are kind of they're up there. They're getting up there. I mean, Gino looks good, just like been talking about. I mean, that's we're all seeing it, how well he's playing this season. But I just don't know how legitimate they get deep in the playoffs. And even with San Francisco's situation, I kind of still like them. Shanahan doesn't care about his quarterbacks. We know this. His system is based on running the ball, yards after the catch, and defense. Purdy should be able to manage this offense. So as much as that might be a big issue with the Niners, I'm kind of leaning more towards liking the Niners still more than liking the Seahawks at this time right now.
Yeah, I mean,
As good as
yeah,
Geno Smith has been playing and showing him, of showing just how well he's playing actually this season. And he's, at the end of the day, I'm still with the Niners.
yeah. I mean,
Defense wins championships.
I certainly still have the Niners ahead of the Seahawks in my power ratings. Still the better team. Okay. So Jessica, thanks for joining us. Tell the people where to follow you on social and where to find the work that you're doing and any pieces, any content that you have coming out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can find me. The biggest way to find me is on Twitter. So, Gridiron Wine, and there, that's where you'll be able to see where I post things. Where Action Network is the majority of where all my work will be found as well. But I post a lot of plays on there. You can always message me through there, and as well as catch any articles or anything like that I'll be writing.
All right, the gridiron and wine. Do you also do you do like wine content? Are you a connoisseur of vino?
I'm a connoisseur of all forms of alcohol, but yes, vino is one of my favorite. But yes, I mean, I don't have like any type of show or anything like that specifically on wine, but I always talk about wine, and I spent some time in Napa, and
Okay.
I'm always down to drink some wine.
Okay. Good to know. It's a good handle. It's a great Twitter handle.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's better than Matt F. the Oracle. Man, if I could go back in time. Anyway. All right, Jessica, thanks for joining the show. She is Jessica Gridiron. I'm Matthew Freedman at Matt F. the Oracle. Check out Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros for all of my work. Best bets, player props, fantasy favorites, player projections, and rankings, and more. If you like the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app. That is going to do it for the Week 14 Best Bets edition of the Betting Pros pod. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck, and see you next episode.